Shalom and welcome everybody to Shabbat Night Talk. My name is Chief Uziel Lewy. I'm one of the teachers at Congregation CHOKMAH, BINAH, which is the house of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Thanking the Creator of heaven and earth for life, food, clothing, and shelter. I'm actually right now trying to start up the Facebook Live because I didn't do that, so trying to do that right now. So happy that everyone is joining us tonight here on the D.C.B channel, and I hope that everyone had a wonderful Shabbat meal. Really hoping that everyone is in great spirits. Thanking the Creator of heaven and earth for life, for wisdom and understanding. Thanking the Creator for all things and everything. Once again, Shabbat Shalom to everyone on Facebook Live. Thanking you for joining us today, and hoping and praying that the Creator of heaven and earth be with us all. All glory, all honors, and all respect is due to Yehovah, God of hosts. And unto him and him alone do we give glory. We almost say hallelujah. And I thank this great King for my life, the life of all of you, the life of Yisrael scattered in the four corners of the earth. And I beg that the Most High God will continue to protect us, protect all of our brothers and sisters. Shabbat Shalom to Abba Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom to Huhana Pua Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom to Princess Naomi. And to everyone out there on internet land that listens to us, that's always there with us. I thank you for tuning in to us and for supporting us. Shabbat Shalom, Moreh Shemuel. Shabbat Shalom, Naja Naya. And to everyone who's joining us on Facebook Live, Shabbat Shalom to you all. May the Most High God bless you on this holy Shabbat day. I thank the Creator for my life, the life of my family, the life of all of those that I love, and praising this great King for all things and everything. Thanking him for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Shabbat Shalom, Terrence McWilliams. Everyone that's joining us on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Shabbat Shalom to you all. Let me see here. Okay, everything is flowing good. And let me see my people on YouTube. Asriel Levy, Shabbat Shalom. Marsha Yisrael, Shabbat Shalom. Chana Lewy, Shabbat Shalom, my sister. Kesedia Yehuda, Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Yemima Prescott, Shabbat Shalom. Tamika Yevra, Shabbat Shalom. Naasira Yisrael, Shabbat Shalom, my sister. Adon Moshe Yisrael, Shabbat Shalom. Jerome Kirby, Shabbat Shalom. And Tavel, Shabbat Shalom. I wanna give glory to the Most High, and I wanna I'm gonna touch something tonight. I was speaking to an elder, and today an elder, an ancient person who's been around from, I believe, the 50s or early 60s, doing, and knowledge of themselves. It's actually a mother who's been around and knows the history. She told me today, she said, God created everything. He created the good, the bad, and the indifferent. So we have to be able to deal with them all. What do we mean by that? Sometimes the Most High God, you know, you get a child that's autistic, but that's on the way other side of that spectrum. And that child might be hard to handle or whatever. The Most High gave us that child. Now, we often hear the saying that God don't give us more than what we can handle. So this is something that we have to understand. The Most High God don't give us more than we can handle. So in all the things that we do, we said, whatever comes upon thee, I think the Apocrypha says, whatever comes upon thee, said, or whatever the Most High God puts on you, said, receive it cheerfully. Meaning whether it's good or bad, you know, you got to just accept whatever it is that comes to you. Now, there are changes that we can make to our situation just through effort. And that just takes us concentrating and doing the things that we're supposed to do. If we sit down and we think that things are going to fall out of the skies and they're going to happen for us, then we got a long thing coming for us. We have to be proactive in everything that we do. So God created everything, you know. Said God created good and he created evil. There is no separate entity that controls evil and that causes man to do things that are evil or that are wrong in society. Said God created good and he created evil, right? He created good and he created bad. The Most High God is in control of everything. Moses gave us a choice. But in the choice that he gave us, he told us to choose life so that us and our posterity after us may live. So those are important points and important issues that we have to look at. Whatever the Most High God gives us, whether good, bad, or indifferent, we have to just be accepting of what he gives us. Sometimes the Most High puts us through situations. When we look at a situation of someone like Joseph, went down into Egypt, was in jail for so long, and he didn't really, we might look at it and say he didn't really do anything to deserve the position that he was put in. But sometimes the Most High is moving and shaking and putting us in situations. How can we say that we're servants of the Most High when we haven't been proven? So we have to be proven as men and women of God to see whether or not we could stand the test of time. They said gold is tried in the fire. Says so also are acceptable men tried in the furnace of adversity. Meaning that just like you put gold through the test to see if it's real and it's pure, the Most High God also has to test us in order to see if we're real and we're pure. So we're tested with certain situations and we're put in certain situations to see whether or not we could stand through the test of time. Most of us that are around, or most people that are around, a lot of times they fizzle out. But those who are strong, they stand through the test of time and they don't wilt and they don't waver. So that's important. The people who stand through the test of time. Now, that's a blessing in itself, but sometimes we don't look at things like that as blessings. We kind of look, what we look at as blessings is monetary value and how much we have. But life and understanding and understanding of Torah, that in itself is a blessing. So we have to be thankful to God for that. Like I said, he created everything, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. So just be thankful for what you have. We could always improve our situations, but the Most High didn't make us robots. So in terms of not making us robot, we have that space as to where we could expand and we could grow. Yah also gives us that opportunity. The Most High Yahweh, he also gives us that opportunity. So it is definitely it is definitely something that we need to look at, you know, and we need to understand, and we need to bear in mind. I thank the Creator for life. I thank the Creator for the Creator for my understanding that He has given me, and I thank Him for my teachers, the men that the Most High God sent to teach me. That's definitely a blessing, you know. That's a blessing. So I thank the Creator for that. We have many things that we follow, right, as brothers and sisters, and we look at. I want us to look at I want to share a video with all of you. Let me see if I can find it. I want to find a video. Just bear with me. This man goes by the name of Nasi Barak, right? Now Nasi Barak is all right, and this. All right, just let me give you a little bit of history. Nasi Barak was born in Panama. Was born in Panama, Central America, the same place where I was born from. Nasi Barak, when he came from Panama, he came around the Israelite community in the early 1960s. He linked up initially with BINAH congregation, which was originally headed by a group of 4 men, but over the years it became the leadership, or the leader of BINAH became Prince Yaakov Nasi. That's what they used to call him, Prince Yaakov Nasi of the tribe of Yehuda. He became the leader of BINAH. So during this time and during this era in the 60s, we didn't have the separation that we have today within Israelite groups. Israelite groups were much more united. There wasn't as much fighting about whether you were a black Jew or whether you were Messianic or whether you were non-Messianic. And actually, brothers who were non-Messianic would go up and teach up at the Israeli Tanakh school. I mean, I have enough interviews with brothers confessing to that. And this brother right here, Nasi Barak, that I'm about ready to show y'all, he was one of the brothers who was integral in bringing certain things to the Israeli Tanakh school, which many schools spawned off of that, from the Israeli Tanakh school, schools like the ISUPK or the UPK as they were known. You got all the splintered groups that come out of that understanding. Coming out of that understanding, they had a man by the name of who they used to call Pop Bivens or Abba Bivens. Abba meaning father in Hebrew. Abba Bivens was an elder who, and he was also known as Rabbi Bivens. He was also a rabbi because he came out of the school of Rabbi Matthew up in Harlem, the commandment keepers. So he separated from commandment keepers. He started his own school, which was called the Israeli Tanakh School. Now, we say Israelite, right? We like to say Israelite, but really, when we read it in the Hebrew, it say Yisraeli, right? That's the proper way to say Israelite. We say Israelite, that's the English translation to it. So when you go to the land and they say Israeli, that's actually a closer translation to what the Hebrews say than what we're saying Israelites, but that's another discussion for another day. So this man, Nasi Barak, he was a student of Nasi Yaakov initially, but then he moved on. He ended up in Manhattan with who we know as Abba Bivens, Pop Bivens, a man who was very influential. He would go out into the streets and teach the people in Harlem. And this man, Nasi Barak, because he knew several languages, he knew English, he knew Hebrew, and he knew Spanish, he could attract the quote unquote the Latin crowd or the Spanish speaking crowd, because he will break down the book in 2 or 3 different languages. Nasi Barak also was the Hebrew teacher at congregation Benezakin. He was the Hebrew teacher for one of the brothers or one of the elders that's prominent in our community, Nasi Zerishadai ben Yehuda. He always tells that story. And before he was known as Nasi Barak, he was at Benezakin, he was known as Chief Barak. When he exited Benezakin and he ended up at Tanakh school. After he left the Tanakh school, which was located in Harlem, he migrated from there and he ended at Shabbat Yisrael, which is located in I think at that time when he joined them, I don't know. I think he might have joined them before. I think when they were at Gates Avenue. So you could correct me on that if I'm wrong. But then I know that he made his most impact, I believe, when he was at Belmont Avenue. But I could be wrong. But from as the history go, as I could recall, or what was told to me, because I wasn't there, I wasn't even born. So then Moreh Mishael, which is also one of the prominent Hebrew teachers, the premier Hebrew teacher in our community, he also was taught by this man, Nasi Barak ben Levi. He began his Hebrew learning from this man. That's what he told me in his interview. So don't argue with me or don't fuss with me. So Nasi Barak was very integral in the growth of Israel as a whole. In fact, this interview that I did with him right here, that I'm about ready to play, because the reason why I'm playing this interview is very important, because he was a Hebrew teacher. And I just need you to, he's kind of, if you don't really understand like a West Indian or what they call a West Indian accent, I'm going to try to, break it down little by little as we go. And if you really can't understand what he's saying, so that you can hear exactly what is it that he's saying about Pop Bivens, and also how he learned the Hebrew, how Pop Bivens learned a new dialect of Hebrew that was just brought in the 1960s. I think this is very important. It's very important to what I'm trying to build to, because I want you to really get an understanding of what happened and how a group of brothers started teaching a new Hebrew, just in the 1960s, right? This is not to shed bad light on anyone or anything like that, but just to get an understanding of where this stuff comes from. to let you know that this is not, this Hebrew that our brothers speak is not any ancient form of Hebrew. This is something that was made up in the 60s. Now I want to play the video. This was an eyewitness, someone who actually was there when this stuff was created, so that you could get an understanding of what I'm trying to bring. So hopefully I could share my screen. Let me make sure that I could share my screen. First, let me open up the video. Let me skip this.
Sign. Way less effective than a website. Get your custom
excuse the commercial.
Shalom, shalom.
All right, we're going to listen to the, I hope, some of y'all probably seen this video before, but what we're going to do is, all right. I hope that y'all still there. There's a reason why I'm going down this road. I want y'all to understand something about the Hebrew. Shabbat Shalom, everyone that just joined us. Gavera Kashkuya, Princess Hannah, Naomi by Yisrael, Edna Pete, Cooley, Logs, Games, Yemima, everybody who's joining us. Shabbat Shalom. So, don't think I'm going crazy here. I'm trying to explain something. And I want you Hebrew teachers to also be out there and listen to me, because I'm not a Hebrew scholar, but, you know, I know enough to defend myself, I believe. And if I'm wrong, I got enough teachers here that can help me. So, all right, here we go. So, just want to make sure that y'all can still hear me. Can y'all still hear me there? Can I still be heard out there on YouTube land? Now, I don't know how the people on Facebook, if you're going to be able to hear this, but I'm sharing the screen right now. So hopefully you're able to hear what I'm playing. You might not be able to see it, but the name of the video is called Nasi Barak Levi, N-A-S-I. Barak is spelled B-A-R-A-K. Levi is L-E-V-I. Speaks of Abba, A-B-A, Bivens, B-I-V-E-N-S. All right, and we're going to see what he says about Abba Bivens and what he learned from him. All right?
Brothers and sisters, I'm bringing you another interview with one of the ancient Torah and Hebrew teachers, Nasi Barak ben Levi. He explains his studies under the late Eved Benjamin, a.k.a. Abba Bivens, what he learned from him, and also what he brought to the Israeli Tanakh school after he left Menazah King in Brooklyn, New York. Shalom, and I hope that you all enjoy.
I used to go and worship with in Israel, you know, some time ago. Yeah, I used to go there and Shabbat and worship with him. And then I used to come over here to Barak, where I get a lot of Yemenites. And I used to go and worship with Yemenites, you know, and I met them. And them Yemenites used to sneak. So because, you know, Shabbat, they travel about so far, you know. They don't believe in driving cars or nothing like that, you know. This is nonsense, you know, to me. It's a bunch of nonsense. Because them in machines, man. The book doesn't say nothing about machines. It says the beasts of burden, right? Right. Your beasts of burden is supposed to rest on the Shabbat. Your manservant, your maidservants, and your
Shalom.
beasts of burden. They got the day of rest also. See?
Shalom, shalom.
Everybody keep the Shabbat holy, right?
Can y'all hear the video?
And you know, I say, oh, this is nonsense. And the Yemenites used to sneak to come to worship with us in Harlem by the Israeli Tanakh school and to learn.
Who's Abba?
That's Pop Bivens.
Pop Bivens.
Yeah, we got him out. His name is Eved Benjamin, you know. Eved Benjamin, yeah.
So when you left Menazah King, you went to Shabbat Yisrael, but you were also going to Pop Bivens.
No,
Can y'all hear it now?
I went to Pop Bivens first. And then from Pop Bivens, I ended up with Coin Levy. When they was on Tompkins Avenue.
Okay.
Before they got the big place on Belmont. So yeah, so I just went into this thing all the way, brother.
Right.
That's what I was telling these younger brothers now. You see, you come here, you keep going, brother. Don't stop. Don't be like Lot's wife. You know, they told Lot's wife, and they told Lot and his 2 daughters, don't look back. But she looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. She didn't want to let go of them old ways. Yeah, she didn't want to let go of them old ways. And I mean, I had to wrestle with this thing, you know. And finally I said, well, I'm gone, man. But Moshe is the one that took, that's how I met Abba. And Moshe ben Moshe.
So he's saying that he met Abba Bivens through a man named Moshe ben Moshe. All right? So I'm just clarifying everything. You know, he left Ben Azaking and he went to Uptown. We call us here in New York, we usually call them the Uptown Brothers, right? Because they were located in Harlem. Most of the non-Messianic congregations, well, not most, because the non-Messianic congregations, most of them originated from Harlem also, which was Rabbi Matthew and Rabbi Ford, those congregations. So he's saying the way when he met Moshe ben Moshe took him to meet Abba Bivens, which was the leader of the Israeli Tanakh school at that time. So let's hear what he says. Just listen to the interview. I know it might be a little bit rough for some of you to understand what he's saying, but just listen.
He took me to Harlem on Sunday. That's on Sunday when Abba and the brothers used to go on the street, you know, and try to enlighten the brothers and sisters.
And this is after you left Ben Azaking, right?
Yeah, that's after I left Ben Azaking, yeah. Right. And see, and Moshe knew Prince Yaakov because they grew up in the same town in Ohio, you know. And he stopped coming. It's when I started going, and them brothers found out about me, which I was just a newcomer. But they saw how fast I was moving, you know. People started coming. They started coming.
So he went back again into history, and he's speaking about when he first got to Ben Azaking. Remember, I told you, Ben Azaking was his first school. Ben Azaking was his first school. So he's talking about how when he met this brother Moshe ben Moshe, right? He met him when you look at the whole series of interviews that I did with Nasi Barak. And by the way, I did this interview in 2010, August 2010. That's when I was still attending Shema Yisrael, Congregation Shema Yisrael. In the interview, there is an elder by the name of Yeruba'al, which is actually Nasi Barak's Hebrew teacher. So Prince Yeruba'al was Nasi Barak's Hebrew teacher before when Nasi Barak first got to Ben Azaking. Yeruba'al also was a member of Ben Azaking, and he was the Hebrew teacher at Ben Azaking. When Prince Yeruba'al left Ben Azaking, right, Nasi Barak became the Hebrew teacher at Ben Azaking. We talking early 60s, mid 60s, around that time. So I'm just giving you a bit of the history of what's going on. So he's talking here, Moshe ben Moshe was the one who brought him into knowledge of himself, brought him around, and brought him to meet Nasi Yaakov, who was the leader of Ben Azaking, Sons of the Ancients, during the 60s. Here we go. Please just stay with me. I know this might take a little bit of time, but just stay with me.
Started coming. All the brothers I left, they started coming. And when I left, and I went to Shema Yisrael. No, first I went to Pop Bivens. Up in Ireland, Pop Bivens and them talking on the corner, you know.
How long did you stay up there?
Long time, man. Long time.
So he said when he left Ben Azaking, he went to Pop Bivens, which is in Harlem. That was before he went to Shabbat Yisrael. So everybody knows Nasi Barak. When he left Benazakin, he was only known as Chief Barak. When I get this information from Nazik Sarishadai ben Yehuda, who was one of his students, during that time, Nasik was only about 13, 14 when he came around. So he was known as Chief Barak. When I did this interview, like I said, I was at CHOKMAH Yisrael on the first floor. I was there. Like I said, Prince Yeruba'al was there, and Prince Ipor was sitting right next to me while I was doing this interview. And he also asked some questions, and sometimes you hear him chime in. But for most part, I'm the one who does like the interviews and stuff like that. So I'm the one asking most of the questions because from most of the history that I heard of Nasi Barak, you know, from Prince Ipor himself, I was able to ask the questions and get the answers from Nasi Barak. So here we go.
I was like, I was there, brother. And one thing made me left there, see, is on the Shabbat, right? I used to go and I opened the Shabbat, me and this other brother Yosef. And he had a big scroll too, you know, and we did all of it.
He's talking about the Israeli Tanakh school. He's not talking about Benazakin anymore. He's talking about what made him leave the Israeli Tanakh school, which is Abba Bivens, so Pop Bivens school, right? So he's explaining how when they used to go there, Abba Bivens has scrolls. So this is the ironic thing. You know, a lot of those brothers are so anti-Jewish, anti-this, anti-that, but Abba Bivens has scrolls. The scrolls that you read out of are the same scrolls that the quote-unquote European Jews read out of. And from what he's saying, from what Nasi Barak is saying, is they used to do the same thing in the ceremony of carrying around the scrolls around the place, right? So this was a tradition that was done at the Israeli Tanakh school.
We cover the scroll, you know, we read from the scroll, see? And one Shabbat, he called me telling me he's going to a wedding. A Jewish people wedding. Yeah, it broke my heart, brother. You going to forsake the Shabbat, excuse me, to go to a Jewish wedding.
So he was disheartened because Pop Bivens called them on the Shabbat to tell him that he was going to a wedding on the Shabbat. Jewish people wedding, right? Meaning when he said Jewish people wedding, he talking about the Europeans, right? So somehow Pop Bivens, all of them back then had contact with different people. Like I said, Messianic, non-Messianic, they all had contact with each other. And some of them even had contact with Jews, as you could see here. But Pop Bivens was going to a wedding on the Shabbat. And this disheartened Nasi Barak. And he, you know, he felt the way about that, you know. So that caused him to leave Pop Bivens, right? So I hope that you're all still with me. There's a reason why I'm doing this.
That's when I said, nah, I ain't going there no more. So, he tried to convince me. I said, no, that's okay, man. You do what you have to do. You older than me. You were like 86 years old then too, you know. I used to protect that man, brother, let me tell you. When I heard that what happened to him in New Jersey, excuse me, I know if I was there, it would never happen.
So what happened to Pop Bivens in New Jersey is, like the brothers, you see the brothers who teach in the school, he's the one who start in the streets. He's the originator of, he's the leader of that from all the splinter schools that came from them. So he used to go out there with the charts and all of this. But during this time, you will get even non-Messianics that will go up there and be with him and teach. You know, you had like Nasi Barak, you had Prince Reuben from Chicago, you had read the book Daniel, Chief Counsel Daniel, all these brothers used to go and meet up with they used to go and meet up with Pop Bivens, and he will allow them to teach in the streets, although they were non-messianic. And from what Nasi Barak explains is that although Pop Bivens used to come out of the New Testament, he never taught it as if Jesus was like a savior or anything like that. All right, so just giving you a little history. Now, I've done these interviews, so I know what people have told me, so I'm not speaking my own words. I'm speaking what the eyewitnesses have told me. And this is very important for the history and what I'm trying to get to. So at this point, I'm going to fast forward the video to about 9:30. Now, when I fast forward to about 9:30, you're going to begin to see Prince Yeruba'al sitting next to Nasi Barak. Prince Yeruba'al is Nasi Barak's Hebrew teacher, right? So here it is.
Go to Harlem. Well, I got on a plane and I was in Harlem. And that's where it all started. I'm telling you, brother, it was like the Creator was just moving me in the right direction, you know. And then when I got this job working at this hospital on Amram, remember Amram?
Yeah.
Amram is the one that...
He went to Benazaki?
Yeah, he was...
So you heard Nasi Barak say Amram, where he was working at the hospital. I said Moshe ben Moshe. It wasn't Moshe ben Moshe. Moshe ben Moshe was the one who took him to Pop Bivens. A brother by the name of Amram is the one who took him to Benazakin and introduced him to Nasi Yaakov, right? So just straightening it out right there. And then Prince Paul asks Nasi Barak a question. So Prince Paul was there also asking questions during the interview.
From Benazakin, as I from Novo, but Benazakin, yeah. Then I learned Derek Abbott. Derek Abbott is the one that Abba.
So now, very important, he said, I learned Derek Abbott, right? Derek Abbott, I believe, means the ways of our fathers, right? The way of our fathers. The way of our fathers. So he said, I learned Derek Abbott. He said, I learned that from Abba, meaning Abba Bivens taught him Derek Abbott. Let's see what Derek Abbott was and what he's referring to.
Used to teach us the way of our fathers, you know. I learned that, but I really thought that.
Derek Abbott and Moshe Amram, he used to teach that.
Yeah, Derek Abbott.
That's
The way, the Hebrew, but it's the way of our fathers, you know, like Derek Abbott. The way of our fathers.
like Shalom, how they speak like that.
You know, until I say Shalom, they say Shalom.
So now, very important. He said he learned Derek Abbott. So now he gives a description of how Derek Abbott sounds, right? He says, as when you speak with the ah, right? All the vowels is a ah sound. Ah. So now, no language just has one vowel sound. English has what? A-E-I-O-U, right? Spanish has I-A-E-O-U. Hebrew has I-A-E-O-U. These are all different vowels to help to make out words. Hebrew as his own has root words, right? If you got a root word, then you put certain vowels in it to differentiate what that root word is saying and what it's meaning at the time. So now I got much more better Hebrew scholars out there. I'm not a Hebrew scholar. I understand some Hebrew, but I'm not a Hebrew scholar. But Nasi Barak is explaining that Abba Bivens taught him the ah. So that's when you hear these brothers, when we say shalom, they say shalom. When we say Yisrael, they say Yashara Allah. Everything is ah. When we say anything, all their names have just ah sound to it. Ah. All the vowels are just ah. So when you get to Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, and it says, tell them I am, it says, Eye, Asher, right? Instead of saying Eye, they say Ahaya. Very important to understand the language, right? Language has sounds, consonants. These are all different things that language have, right? Now, this Dedekabot, let's see how it came about. Because Nasi Barak is going to explain how Pop Bivens got this Dedekabot and who he got it from. And let's see where he got it from. Here we go.
They said Barakata, you know. And you know, it was ah. You know, Abba told me that he was reading the Tanakh one time, you know.
He said Abba Bivens told him one day he was reading the Tanakh, right? He was reading the Tanakh. Listen to the story very carefully.
And some man appeared in his kitchen in a gray suit.
He said, and while he was reading the Tanakh, Abba Bivens said while he was reading the Tanakh, some man appeared in his kitchen in a gray suit. Somebody just magically appeared in a gray suit. I mean, this is the story. I'm not making this up. You're hearing it from the horse's mouth, someone who heard it from Abba Bivens.
I said, yeah, you sure? He said, yeah, and this man showed him how to read it. And that's why he called it Dedekabot. But I didn't like it, you know. But I learned it too, but we don't use it, you know, because we use Sephardic, you know, that's the kind of Hebrew we speak.
So he said he learned it. So now I gather he learned it out of respect for Abba, but he said he really didn't like it because why? He was a learned Hebrew student. He already knew Hebrew. And what he said is, he said, we learn Sephardic Hebrew. He said, we don't learn this thing. So the creation of the Dedekabot, which is the Hebrew that these brothers speak, that everything is with the I sound, with the I vowel in it, is something that was created in the 1960s. It wasn't anything that predated any Hebrew manuscript. It wasn't spoken like that in the ancient Hebrew. It wasn't spoken like that in modern Hebrew. That is a fairly new way of speaking that no other Hebrew school, except the students or the schools that broke out of the Israeli Tanakh school, they're the only ones that carry that tradition. The splinter groups that come from that. Understand what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm saying that is because when you begin to teach people, and when you begin, well, I don't think I have to share the screen anymore because I believe that I made my point when it came to that. So now I hope everyone is still out there with me, and you understood what I was trying to. You understood exactly what is it that I brought you. Hope that everyone is still out there with me. So it's very important for us to understand what is it that's being brought. I hope that everyone was able to understand what I was bringing. And I hope that everybody was able to understand. And he was also a jeweler. Somebody, Joe Richardson said, that brother taught me the jewelry trade. He was also a jeweler. This is Nasi Barak, right? Yes, I will definitely, when I go to Israel, if they allow me to, definitely. Yeah, they call it La Shawan Kwadash, right? That's what they call it. So this is the reason why I'm doing this. Automatically, when you speak like that, you are in fault. No language. This is something that was relatively new. So when you're trying to teach someone a language, or you're trying to get them to understand a language, especially a language like Hebrew that has root words, right? And if I got like More Tavel or Moradina, these are people that know actually the language. Or anybody else out there that actually know the language, please give me a call so that you could explain it better than me. That is preposterous. You can't teach people what is the true name of the Most High if you don't even know the language. The Kodash La Shawan, or the La Shawan La Kodash, right? The La Shawan Kodash, right? That is not the Hebrew that our forefathers spoke. Now, they like to criticize us and tell us that we are, what do they call it? They say that we are speaking Yiddish. We don't speak Yiddish. We speak biblical Hebrew. Most Israelite camps that are non-messianic, that come from schools like Shabbat Yisrael or the schools like Ben Azakin, we speak biblical Hebrew, what they call biblical Hebrew. And even some of the brothers that know how to speak fluently, when they confront these Europeans, they say, oh, you're speaking a higher language, because most European Jews don't know how to speak biblical Hebrew. What they know how to speak is Yiddish. Now, Yiddish is a combination of Germanic language with some other stuff in it, but they use the Hebrew character, the block letters, and that's how they write. So they say that we're speaking Yiddish, but in reality, what the Jewish people is doing, the European Jew is doing, he's using the characters. He's using the Hebrew characters to speak his Yiddish, right? It's just like I speak Spanish and you speak English. You might not recognize everything I'm saying or that I'm writing down in Spanish. You don't know what it means, but you're using the same characters. You're still using the letter R, the M, the L, the V, the U. We're still using these letters. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that we have to keep in mind. Those are things that we have to keep in mind. The Lashon La Kodash, or La Shawan Kodash, however they call it, it's not Hebrew. It's not Hebrew. So now, the reason why I said all that, because now when we look at that, then we have to look at the pronunciation of the name. You got a brother by the name, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't think it's necessary. I'll just talk about what's being said. Now, when we talk about, I hope I made that clear. I hope that I made that perfectly clear when we're talking about the words in Hebrew, right? So now, let's say Exodus chapter 20. So this is what they do. So I'm going to read Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 and 2. And I'm going to read it First, I'm going to read it in English, and then I'm going to read it in Hebrew, and I'm going to attempt to read it the way that they will read it and see how it sounds. So first in English, and God spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. So in Hebrew, biblical Hebrew, the way it's written, we will read it. Wadaber Elohim et kal hadvarim ha'ele lemor. Anoki Yahweh Eloheka asher hosetika me'eretz Misraim mivet avadim lo yiyeh leka Elohim acherim al panai. Right? Al panai. So I'm going to try to attempt to read it the way that they will read it. This Kwadash Lashawam. It will be Wayada Bara Allah Allaha Ya. It will be Allah Allaha Yam Ata Khala Ha Davara Yama Ha A La A Le Mara Ana Kaya Yaha Waha Yaha Waha Allaha Yaka Ashara Ha Waza Ta Yaha Ma'arat Masrayama Vayata Avadayama La Ya Le no La Ka A La Ha Yama Ha Kara Yama Allah Panaya. That's how it was said. Every vowel that they see, they just substitute an I sound in it. Why do I say that? Because you got to remember the origins of it. The origins is, Nasi Barak said it, that Pop Bivens, Abba Bivens, said it to him, that he was sitting down studying Hebrew, and a man in a gray suit, he said he was sitting down at his table, man in a gray suit appeared to him and showed him that this is the way to read this Hebrew. So now, as a form of respect, I know probably Nasi Barak just, he went with the story, whatever. But most of us, if we heard something like that today, we would not believe it. We wouldn't believe anything like that. And even that way of speaking doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I'm saying that the language spoken by the Messianic Hebrews today was created in the 1960s, not even the 50s, the 60s. If you guys could go back and refer to that interview. You see, I'm not making up. You can't get mad at me when I go to the source, the people that's in the source. That's the source. Prince Paul was sitting right there next to me. He was asking questions. I was sitting there. Prince Yeruba'al was there. This is 2010 at CHOKMAH Yisrael. I'm interviewing Nasi Barak. We were all there. All right? And this is what happened. Right. Ivrik is Afro-Asiatic. Yiddish is Indo-European, although the same characters are used. not even intelligible. You're terrible. I know, but I just wanted people to understand what is it that you. So when we go on the internet and we learning new things, you have to be able to discern and understand what is it that you're learning. You gotta go to learn people. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to learn people, because if you don't go to learn people, what's going to happen is that you will begin to take in things that really are not conducive to your learning and to your growth. You understand what I'm saying? He said, I used to be with them and you actually did a good job. Because it's not, if you know Hebrew, all you got to do is substitute every vowel, or when you see any word and you just put an I sound with it. It's not even a rule. There's not even a rule to the way they read it. You see with Hebrew, sometimes you might see a word or a letter, but there's a mark and there's some points that tell you this don't go with this, or this goes with this, and you have to pronounce it this way. Not with the Kodash La Shawana or La Shawan HaKodash. With that, you pronounce everything. And you just put an I in it. Every word, just you add an I to it. Because it's not hard to figure out. But the problem that you run into is when you have words, because I believe most Hebrew words have a root word, right? Or every Hebrew word has a root word. So now when you want to differentiate in saying one thing to another, if you and that root word could be like three letters, right? So now if you want to sound it out, or you want to make out a sound, or you want to make something the past, the present, the future, first person singular, male, female, you got to add different things to make it sound different. So every time you saying it, it doesn't sound the same. And then you can't differentiate what you're speaking about. They say it's ancient Hebrew, but it was just created in the 1960s. So the reason why I'm saying that is when these brothers are trying to tell you the true pronunciation of things, that's not the true pronunciation of things. That's not the real way that something was said. Hebrew goes back many years. You know, you had different ways that people said different things. Now, I'm not going to go into what I really want to go into today. I just want you to really let that marinate with you. I want you to really let that marinate with you, because we have to begin to do the research our own. Now, I brought you people. I brought you a person that was there that got it from the source. You see, they never come at me because I don't speak my own words. I always go to people that were there. You see, some people sometimes get upset with the interviews that I do, or I'm saying, you really can't get upset with me. You got to get upset with the people who doing the interview. They were there. They're speaking their reality. They're speaking what they experience. So Hebrew is much more complicated than that. I wish that one of these teachers will call me. We need to study the language. And that's from a Hebrew teacher, Irania ben HaKohen Levi, the son of Cohen Levi, from Shabbat Yisrael, who encouraged people to read the language, that to study. Shabbat Yisrael was from what I learned, a lot of people that came out of there were very learned with the Hebrew. They spoke Hebrew. They did all these things. We can't take something that was created in the 1960s and give it credibility and even try to teach people and try to tell people that this is the true way that you say this, or this is the true way that you express this with something that was created in the 1960s. There's no validity in that. There is no validity in that. When you go back and you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? The Dead Sea Scrolls were speaking exactly in the same language that we speak the the ancient Hebrew today, right? Or the what they call the biblical Hebrew, right? Because you got what they call modern Hebrew today is really about almost 3,000 years old. 2,500 years old, almost 3,000 years old. Because when we came out of Babylon, those are the characters we came out of. We stopped using the Paleo Hebrew, but some of us also still learned the Paleo Hebrew. Nasi Barak was one of the teachers who taught the Paleo Hebrew. I believe when he went to Shabbat Yisrael, he began to teach also what we call the modern Hebrew and the Paleo Hebrew, right? So some brothers know the alphabet in the Paleo Hebrew and could read the Paleo Hebrew, could actually read it, right? For most part, when you see most scrolls and things of that nature, they come without vowels. The vowels are already known. If you know Hebrew, people that really know Hebrew, they already know what the word means or what it says, right? They know how to pronounce it. When it's written a certain way, when it's put a certain way, they already know how to pronounce it. So this is what we have to understand. I'm not doing, I still have a lot to learn. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I can't say that I can't be wrong. Let me see if I could read what More Aranya put up there. I said he put anaknu. I know you put anaknu. That's without the vowel, so. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there. Anaknu. I need vowels. He know what he wrote up there, but I need the vowels sometimes. I can make out some words, but sometimes I need the vowels. All right, so let's read some of these comments. Terrence McMillan's. Also, that Paleo they claim they speak is actually Phoenician Canaanite script, right? That they wear all over their outfits, while what we use today is Aramaic block script, right? That's what we use is Aramaic block script. But the Paleo was also what we use, right? So it's not like it was a shared language. It was the words were shared. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like somebody is speaking something that's like other people also use the script, but they spoke differently. Just like when you read in the book of Daniel, when we read last week the book of Daniel, chapter 4, was it that I went to? That whole chapter is written in Aramaic. But you see what we know and recognize as the modern Hebrew, but it's Aramaic. That's the Aramaic script. So those are things that we have to watch out for. Those are things that we have to be careful with. That's just the first step. Understanding when you hear certain translations, understanding that doesn't come from us. Anak Nuzor Kim lid mode ha safa. Okay. Torah more. So those are the things that we have to understand about Hebrew. We cannot look at things and try to just make up things and make them to be valid. And then the thing is, when you sit down with brothers and you try to reason with it, your indoctrination is so hard that you can't see things that someone is bringing you and see that what you're saying is really making no sense, and somebody is really. I've seen debates with brothers that are non-messianic and brothers that are messianic, and I've seen that the messianic brothers get destroyed. Why? Because they really don't know Hebrew. And when you start reading Hebrew and when you really start going through it and all the different things and rules that come with Hebrew, now you see someone that's learned, you run into a bit of trouble. Because it's not just as simple as It's not that simple. So I hope that you gotten something out of it. I wish that one of the Hebrew teachers would have called in to explain it better and explained it better. The little bit of Hebrew that I do know, I know that there's definitely something wrong with the way that Hebrew is spoken. So that's your foundation first. That's the first thing that you have to look into. So you see, people are still learning Hebrew. They trying to become good at it. So I hope you got something out of it. I'm not going to be on long tonight. I just wanted to bring that. I wanted you to get some understanding of that. I don't feel like I know everything. But I know what I've learned. Next year I'm going to have 30 years doing this. So that means I would have been doing this I started when I was 13. I'm 42 now. So you do the math. I've dedicated myself to this way of life from my youth. My mother didn't bring me around. It wasn't like my father brought me around. No, I came into this way of life on my own. The Most High God brought me and guided me into this way of life. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't use that as to brag, but I'm just saying that I've dedicated myself. I don't know everything, You got brothers still get mad with me because I haven't reached my potential in the Hebrew and stuff like that, and I could be better in that. But I know one thing, that Hebrew is not Hebrew. That's some other language. That's not Hebrew. You could put that with Yiddish, or that's even worse than that. So just to let you know, you cannot read your Bible like that. You cannot read your holy scriptures like that. Your Tanakh. So hoping and praying that the Most High God of Abraham, unless somebody calls in, one of the Hebrew teachers, usually Moradina be with us, but she's not with us tonight, or my brother Tavel, maybe he just doesn't feel like calling in. But even if More Aranio wants to call in and explain it, I really appreciate it if he calls in and expounds on it. I thought I would have my brother Zion Lex on tonight, but he must have been tired, so I know how it is on the Shabbat. So just waiting to see if anybody is going to call in to talk about it. Those of you that have the D.C.B number. So that they could explain it maybe a bit better than what I did if I didn't do a good job. So you would never be fooled, right? So you will never be fooled. And when they start talking that stuff, you know exactly what video to refer to. Let me give you the link to the video so you can refer to it. And then it's about you can start the video at about 9:30 of the video, right? I want everybody to do that. Right? Start it at 9:30. Oh, you could start the video from the beginning. And you could learn, Chief Benaiah. Shalom, my brother.
Hey, Shalom, Aki.
Hallelujah.
I got a question for you.
Cain.
Hold on a minute. I got to turn this down. All right. Shalom. Can you
Shalom. I can hear you. Yes.
All right. So I'm watching your what's the name, right? So
Right.
So you know I come up from Ben Isaac in school, right? So
Right.
We have a clear understanding of where we are with this.
Right.
My thing is this. Nasi Barak claimed that Abba Bivens was in his kitchen.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He was in his kitchen sitting down reading.
Right. Right.
So he was sitting down reading from A, the Torah,
Right.
B, a random Hebrew book,
From the Torah.
C, what was he reading from?
He
Or the Tanakh.
from the he would from what I believe when he was saying, because most of the time when you're at that point when you're studying, right? When we study, we're studying from the Torah, because most of the times you're reading, you're studying, so that when you come up that week and you have to read certain portions from the Torah, that you're versed in it, right? Now you could be doing that, or you could also be reading from, you could be studying Hebrew, like learning verbs, learning words, learning whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So to be exact, I would have to say maybe he was reading the Torah, or he was just learning, trying to learn some new words or whatever.
All right. Good. Now, was this person a figment of his imagination? Was this a real individual?
It wasn't a real it wasn't a real individual. That's why I brought it up. I don't like to make light of it because it offends people. You got people that really look at this, right, that look at this man as being like, because he's the leader of this whole movement that you see out there. He's the one that they look up to. That's the one who began it. But when you tell them things like this, they get angry and they begin to say you're a liar. But then you go, I didn't say it. Somebody that was there said it, and I heard him say it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, for example, the whole thing with the charts. Panamanians are Zavulun, Haitians are Levi, Mexicans are Yisaskar. So I got another video where Chief of Chiefs, Chief Naphtali's teacher, read the book Daniel, Chief Counsel Daniel, who was originally from Benazaking. He asked his Pop Bivens, he said, hey, why you out here teaching the people that Panamanians is Zavulun and Mexicans? He said, and he told Daniel, he told Chief Counsel Daniel, Danny, that's the hook. That's how I bring them in. But what happened is he taught it as a gimmick to bring people in, to make people feel like they belong to something. But what his students did is they made it a fact. They said, no, this is it. This is a fact. Panamanians are Zavulun, and so are this, and so are that. And they made it a fact. You understand what I'm saying? Now, as far as the Hebrew, that was a figment of his imagination. It wasn't nobody there studying with him. He said, just a man appear in a gray suit. While he was
I just want you to emphasize on that, because that's what I got out of it.
That's exactly that's what I got out of it. But you know, if you talk about it too much, they get upset. And I'm not trying to make them upset. I'm trying to make them learn their history a bit. You know what I'm saying? Learn your history a bit. Don't be that. Don't get upset with me. Learn your history. That's all.
And the beauty of it,
right,
that you have collaborating witnesses.
Right. Right.
So it's not that you came up with a story from somewhere. You spoke to a person that was told by the person who this happened to. Right.
That's right.
You have that collaborating story on camera. So if the fact that he's presenting, now they know for sure that what they're doing is procrastinating and, how do you say that? Continuing in a proceeding. In how you say that?
In a falsehood? In a falsehood?
Yeah, in a falsehood. The torah.
Right.
In the Hebrew.
Right.
So that's what they do.
So I'm glad you understood you know, because I'm hoping that people are understanding what I'm trying to do without trying to offend them, but trying to teach them, trying to edify them, you know. So I'm getting another call here. I'm gonna talk to you, Aki. Be blessed, my brother.
Likewise. Shabbat shalom.
All right, whoever was calling me, stop calling. Let me see. Obviously, somebody who has the number. Let me see. Shabbat shalom. Who am I speaking to?
Shabbat shalom.
Hey, what's up, my brother? Can you turn up your mic a little?
Can. I also have a special guest for you, Moray Daniel. Wow.
Oh, Moray Daniel. Okay. That's great. Hey, what's up, Moray?
Text that they found, they didn't find any vowels on it, so that's the reason they assumed that in the beginning there were no vowels, so therefore I don't know how he reached the conclusion, but he felt that everything had an R sound to it because R is the first letter, the alphabet. But phonetically speaking, we use A, E, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. That's the Hebrew language. Same thing in the Arabic. Those are melodic languages. They have an inflection of emotion when you're speaking them. So you're going to say, ooh, ah, e. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so
right.
To have with an R sound is just not proper.
Hold on. Moray Daniel, can you please do me a favor because I didn't have you up loud. Can you please repeat from the beginning everything that you said? I'm sorry for having you to repeat this, but everybody didn't hear you. So if you can, just repeat it from the beginning where you started with Aria. And Aria was one of the students from Pop Bivens, right?
Yes.
All right. So
Aria was a chief, one of the chiefs, one of the main chiefs in the old One West camp, One West 125th Street.
Right.
And he started that. I remember him saying once before, back in the 70s, that they did some research and they found in the ancient Hebrew, which is the block form of the Hebrew, there were no vowels. So I guess they assumed that, being that there are no vowels, they started rewriting everything with an R sound. But that sounded kind of odd to me because we as people normally speak with the phonetics.
Right.
A-E-O-U. And languages is learned from the people that share it. It's
Right.
like the oral tradition.
Right.
The oral tradition went on for thousands of years before
Right.
people started writing them down.
Right.
And with the writing.
Right.
So you learn to, just because something is not written, it doesn't mean that you don't know how to pronounce it.
Right.
When you look at the torah that they sell, they use it in the ancient, it doesn't have the vowels. But you know how to pronounce it because you know once you know what the word means, you know how it's pronounced.
Right.
And it's not with an R sound. That's something that they need to change. But it has gotten a lot of mileage because Israelites are popping up all over and rewriting everything, and it does not sound right. They're gonna run into problems eventually.
Right. So, Moray, Daniel. So what I was explaining is that Hebrew has root words, right? So if you trying to make a differentiation between speaking to a female, speaking to a male, speaking in the past and the present and the future, if you're pronouncing everything with the I sound, then it doesn't differentiate that. Am I right or wrong?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Yes, I was.
In Arabic has you have to make a difference between for a female and a male.
Right.
There's always a difference in that.
There's always
And
a
it's going
difference.
to be written slightly differently too.
Right. Right. That's
And pronounced differently. Yes.
right. So I really appreciate this call because, like I was telling the people, I read some Hebrew, but I'm not a Hebrew teacher. I'm not a Hebrew scholar. We learn Hebrew. I learned Hebrew really just to be able to read on Shabbat. We didn't really push Hebrew like in Qahal. They pushed it like, they pushed the Hebrew in Qahal and Hashabah Yisrael, it was pushed. The Hebrew was pushed. Certain congregations, the Hebrew was pushed in. Congregation where I came from, we had Hebrew teachers. Whoever wanted to go get it could go get it, which some brothers did, but it wasn't enforced for us to learn it. You know what I'm saying? So I always have to call brothers who know the language, who could speak it, who could read it, who could write it, in order to validate certain points that I'm trying to make and what I was trying to
I'm not even all of that. I'm still learning myself. I mean, I read the Torah and stuff like that, but I don't speak it on a daily basis because it's something that you don't use on a daily basis. You turn to forget. I remember in Panama when I used to go to school, right? When I first started going to Spanish school.
Right.
I didn't know how to speak it. I just come home and said, Mom, I don't understand. She said, don't worry about it. Keep going.
Right.
Because as black Panamanians, we mostly spoke English. When you spoke Spanish, because with the school, the people that was around you.
Right.
So after about 2 or 3 months, I found myself learning how to communicate because as a child, you learn stuff much easier. Same thing with the language.
Right.
Any language that you speak on a daily basis, you're going to pick up certain words. Like your child is growing. After a while, they know vocabulary.
Right. Right.
All the language is learning how to express yourself through the different vocabulary that you use on a daily basis.
Right. Okay.
And let me just say this about the Hebrew as well. Our forefathers, coming from Abraham, did not speak Hebrew. He learned Hebrew when he moved down to where the other areas was. Because look at it. When David took over Jerusalem,
right.
Jerusalem was called Ir-Yebus, the city of the Jebusites.
Right.
The Jebusites are descendants of the Canaanites. So all of those people spoke Hebrew. The dominant language in that area was Hebrew, and Aramaic was more of the north where Abraham came from. But right in that area, it was Hebrew. So we learned the Hebrew from being born in that particular area. That became the dominant language. That's from my research.
Right. Okay.
Aramaic and Hebrew.
Right. Okay. I could roll with that. I understand that. I could roll with that. That makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense. So Moray, thank you again for calling in and for giving us your insight. I really appreciate it. And may the Most High God bless you.
You too.
Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. There you have it, from people who actually learned the Hebrew, like, that learned it more than me. That's not just me speaking. So that I don't go for that. You have to be able to read and differentiate words and do things of that nature. We cannot get confused. We have to be careful what we accept, what we become involved with, so that we won't be led astray. And I'm just, this is mainly for our new brothers and sisters. Just be careful what you run into on the internet, and always double check with brothers and with sisters to find out exactly what is it that you're learning. And I'm definitely not going to try to lead you astray. Whatever I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. But what I do know is I'm going to try to enlighten you with it if you want to be enlightened. So with that, thanking the creator of heaven and earth, thanking all the people that call in, my brother Chief Benaiah, my brother Moray Daniel, my brother Zion Asher for making that connection. I really appreciate it. May the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob bless each and every one of you. Shalom, shalom. And may Shalom Uvrakai, and may the Most High God bless you all. Hallelujah.